There's a specific kind of tension in the air right now. And if you felt it, welcome to this tarot reading on the Southern Star Tarot channel. If you've been paying attention to the headlines, you're probably exhausted like I am. But if you've been paying attention to the silence, you're probably alert. Have you noticed the silence from China? It's absolutely deafening. Crickets. While the Northern Hemisphere West is screaming, locked in a roar of distraction and words and things like the Epstein file dumps, US political theater, trade wars, and just blabbering from Tangerine, man in the house that is white. You would have noticed there's not a word on Russia, not a whisper on Taiwan, and it is a masterclass in inactivity. And I think they aren't talking because they are busy taking action behind the scenes. They are watching the North and the western parts of the North tear itself apart while they are quietly realigning with the rest of the world. So this now brings me to the 18th of February 2026, the Ring of Fire solar eclipse that rises over the Antarctica. In the north, they'll barely see it. But down here across the Southern Ocean, it will be brushing the shores of Aotearoa, New Zealand. And it is the only story, I think, here that really matters at this point in time. I'm no astrologer, but I've done a little bit of digging. And in astrology, this eclipse in Aquarius acts almost like a cosmic circuit breaker. It is sitting right on the US Sibley Moon, signaling a total collapse of public sentiment in the States. While they deal with the internal fever, the Southern Hemisphere is being forced into a massive realignment. And I am going to see what the tarot cards have got to tell us today. As per usual, I'm going to do my 11 card spread. Going to cut it 3 times and then we'll see what the cards have got to say. But before we get into that, I'd also just want to say to one of my subscribers that left a comment on the New Zealand forecast prediction energies that I did. Don't feel like the Nine of Pentacles. Watch the whole episode and there is hope there. Don't feel despaired, because that Nine of Pentacles is definitely going to be turning upright. So let's have a look and see here. In this reading, I'm going to see if I can get some energies on the USA, Europe, Canada, and then in the Southern Hemisphere here, New Zealand, as well as South Africa, as well as India. Because India is also never spoken about. You never really hear from them. So let's have a look and see if there's any energies coming out with regards to this. And let's shuffle. And then we are going to do a 3-card cut. Okay, let's do this today. Okay, deep breath. Let's have a look here. I'll pack out the first 5 and then we'll take it from there. The Moon, 5 of Swords, 2 of Wands, Tower in reverse. Amazingly how the Tower and the Moon card keeps coming up. And here we've got the 8 of Pentacles again. Just make sure all of these are in. Okay, let's try and unpack this. Okay, I've mentioned China. And I think this moon card here is reflective on China. The moon, this is that silence. China is letting the old world exhaust its resources whilst they are building up a trade patchwork that we haven't even been able to see yet. You can see here all the noise that the dogs are making. But in the background, across the water or in the water, something is watching all this noise and this distraction and all the fireworks that's happening. And something lies behind these towers that are being built. There's 5 of Swords energy here. As we all know, it's like the bully aspect, but it also is a victory that somehow leaves everybody a little bit bitter and despondent. It is almost giving me the energy of a house divided, fighting over distraction, words, while certain foundations are turning to dust, while certain things are being lost. It's almost telling me that he's not got enough hands to juggle all the swords, even though he wants all the swords. The 2 of Wands here. When I saw the 2 of Wands and I saw this rose here, because Canada is part of the Commonwealth, so it immediately sort of reminded me of the EU and Canada, and this 2 of Wands in reverse is almost like it's the old alliances that's dying. And they are standing at the door, but there's still no real plan. It's almost like a divorce without a settlement. Because in the upright position, it is, we are looking across to our allies, our neighbors. But here, we are looking what is being presented to us right now. We can't see what's happening over the horizon. So we are trying to decide what is going on, what to make of this. And this energy here, for me, I don't know why, but this blue and the red almost wants to draw me to not just New Zealand, but also the USA with an election here. And with it being an election here in New Zealand, it is almost like there's a controlled burnout. And with the elections coming up on the 7th of November, we are going to see some sort of control tower moment here. And I think the same can apply for the midterms in the US. Those hands almost look like a victory for me in the north. And this one here reminds me of Bring It On in New Zealand. But I think what is going to go, if I look at New Zealand, I think if we watch the budget on the 28th of May, this is, I think, when the fur is really going to start flying. and coalitions are going to start cracking, and it's going to become a lot more visible for us here in New Zealand. Because in New Zealand, the current party in power has got a blue color, and it's almost looking that they are heading for a big crash. It's almost like they're throwing their hands up in the air. But this one here is bracing. He's ready for what is coming. These Eight of Pentacles. I've mentioned India. And India is also very quiet. And this is almost reminding me that they are very quietly sitting in the background while the north and the western part of the north is basically tearing themselves apart, not getting things off the ground. They are quietly building the workshop of the world. And that is also why I think China is so quiet as well. Because India, that almost reminds me of the Taj Mahal in the background. I don't know why, it just came to my mind. I know it's not, but it almost reminded me of the Taj Mahal. So, watch out. India is busy building something. They are building the workshop of the world. Now, let's have a look here at the second row. What we've got here. Judgment. Four of Pentacles. Nine of Swords. This Judgment card here is almost wanting to pull me towards South Africa. And there's a massive soul audit on its way. And then the ancestors are watching. Currently there's a crossroads. And I've seen it in the media. There's a crossroads between the old guard and the new global leads. I've noticed that there is a sentiment shift, and I think South Africa is in for Judgment Day with all the corruption that has been happening. And why I'm saying South Africa is because the solar eclipse is also going to touch, and it's going to be touching the east coast of South Africa while it moves over. And it's going to be more visible there. So I think that is going to be what really brings things to the foreground. This Four of Pentacles, as we always know, it is clinging on, guarding resources. And if we're looking what's happening in Australia at the moment with all the heat waves and also the standing up against Tangerine Man, they are trying to keep themselves safe, and they are almost trying to hold onto the old values, onto the old world. And while in South Africa things are going to be pivoting away, there's going to be a judgment coming. And I think this might also be related to holding on to the Commonwealth status, because I think they've realized how valuable that actually is. The Nine of Swords here. And this is us. We are paralyzed by fear. Fear that is fed by headlines. and we're missing the actual realignment that is happening beneath our feet. If you can see here, the eyes are covered, hands over the eyes, hands resting, but all they need to do is just move their hands away and they will see a beautiful quilt. They'll see beautiful opportunities in front of them. And I don't know why, but these little images at the bottom here has just come to mind. And it is telling me here that there's all this fighting in the headlines that are hitting us. And we are sitting in the corner, tired, distraught. But we need to look past it, because if we look past it, we can actually see paradise coming out on the other side. Knight of Pentacles. So we have swords in reversed. Okay. This Nine of Pentacles. This is a slow steamroller. It's something that is moving slowly. And if we are looking at what is happening at the moment, with all the chaos in the northern hemisphere, especially in the west, and the east being so quiet, and the amount of countries in the south that has joined BRICS, this is telling me that there is a slow moving forward. Because if I'm correct, I think they've already got 11 members, and they are trying to de-dollarize world currencies. But it is not something that's going to happen fast. It is going to be a slow move. And this here links me into the Eight of Pentacles, where I where I named India. Because India is now the chair of BRICS for the next, I think, 12 months. So this has got to do with BRICS. Now the Three of Swords in reverse. There's a healing coming. And to my viewer that was worried, there is a healing coming. There is a healing after heartbreak. There is a healing after all these sanctions. There's a healing after all these ice raids. There is a healing coming. And it's telling me here that we actually, and it's forcing us to actually look at our neighbors instead of the current powers. People that are aligned with us in the moment. People that are willing to work together, because through working together we can actually heal. Let's have a look. What is the last card here? There we go. I told you there was going to be a positive message. I told you not to worry. The star card here. And with the solar eclipse coming from over the south, there is light coming from the south. And the top of the world was always just a perspective. We always tried living up to what the north was doing. But this is telling us that we actually need to sit and have a look at what the south has got to offer. We have got the resources. India, that's in the south, is building workplaces and the factories. There is hope and healing here for New Zealand. There is potentially hope that BRICS is going to work, but in a positive way. There is hope and healing that there is going to be healing from the heartbreak. And there's also hope that the silence of China is going to be positive and not negative. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys, and this is just my opinion. And remember, tarot's for fun and entertainment purposes only. This is just my honest opinion, looking at the cards. The North is in a fever dream. But if you look at the South and the silence of China, it is a lesson for everybody, including Aotearoa, New Zealand. And it's almost telling me that people need to stop talking, stop waiting for elections to save us. We need to start positioning now. And with this eclipse of the 18th of February, it is a cosmic unplugging. It might be dark, it might be cold, but for the first time, it is ours. And I'm just looking here at the Tower card and the Three of Swords energy. And this is drawing me to a reading for New Zealand, Aotearoa. So I think if we are ready to look past the noise, I'm going to do a deeper look into this Tower card that came out in this reading and link it to the New Zealand elections and also at the Three of Swords. So join me in the next video. Watch the silence. The fire is coming. And thank you for joining me this time around. And let's quickly have a look and see what the underlying energy is. The Hanged Man. Again, the Hanged Man showed up. The Hanged Man here is telling me that we are not completely stuck. Look at things from a different perspective. And doesn't this tie in so well with what I've just said here with the heartbreak, with the star, with looking at things from a different perspective? Look at it with new eyes. And look at the illumination here pointing south. And it's almost telling me that we need to untie ourselves from how we've always relied on the north, west to guide us. We have got everything here that we potentially might have and will have. We just need to let go. Our hands are untied. We've got everything in the power that we have to undo that time. Empress in reverse. She wanted to show herself. I don't know why. Because the stars pointing down to the south. It is telling me that we always thought that there would be abundance coming from the north, and we've neglected the south. So it's time for us to actually become the stars. And this is almost reminding me, she's sort of sitting in front of the sun, creating a ring of fire around her head. So this solar eclipse, and what I've said in the beginning about the conflicts in the moment in the USA, from an astrological point, it is so true. And this card here is telling me that the south needs to start taking control, because we've got everything. And that, my friends, until I speak to you in the next episode about the Tower card and the Three of Swords for New Zealand and the elections coming up. Have a fabulous day. I'll speak to you soon.